going to be dealing with Banshee. Since it's going to be the new default music player for 1104, they want to make sure it is up to snuff. The second round will be dealing with Empathy and Gwibber. The third round will be dealing with application indicators and notifiers and all of those sorts of things. And they'll wrap things up dealing with some little issues with Nautilus. In addition, they're adding a new initiative to this Paper Cuts project where if you would like to help out on fixing some of these bugs, you can subscribe to the mailing list. If you see a bug that you know how to fix, hop in, fix it, you can hop right back out, no real long-term commitment or anything required. They're calling this Paper Cut Ninjas. And since we're on the topic of Ubuntu, a few months back, Dell was given some flack for removing several of their Ubuntu-based systems and not really putting any new ones out there. Well, they've released a new Ubuntu-based laptop. This is a very thin Vostro laptop, which as you know is the business class laptop. It's got a dual-core Celeron processor, which is based on the same core as the Core i3 and the Core i5 processors, but it's a Celeron. It comes with 2 gigs of RAM, a 250 gig hard drive, Ubuntu 10.04 pre-installed, Intel HD graphics, an HDMI port, and a 6-cell battery, which should give you semi-decent battery life. And all of that's going to cost you about $430 plus shipping, possibly plus tax, depending on where you live. So if you are interested in picking up an Ubuntu laptop, this might be the least expensive way to do so. Alright, let's keep things rolling. Adobe has announced they've released version 10.2 beta of their Flash player. According to everything I've read, this is a 32-bit only release, but the 64-bit version that I'm running did get updated this week. I will tell you this though, I tried out the new 10.2 beta on my Windows machine at work, and it crashed every time I used it. Any sort of load that I put it under, it just crashed. So as always with any sort of beta software, keep that in mind that it is still beta software. But Phoronix.com did some testing with this new 10.2 32-bit edition and found that nearly 0% CPU utilization was being used when playing 1080p video full screen. This has to do with hardware acceleration finally being integrated into Flash. So, have you tried the Flash 10.2 beta out yet? What are your experiences with it? Did it significantly improve your performance or not? Let me know in the comment section below, or if you can, make a video response talking about it. And since we're talking about Flash, let's go ahead and talk about Google Chrome. Google Chrome version 8 stable released this week. As it was mentioned before, this comes with the built-in PDF reader that is sandboxed, so if something goes wrong, your whole browser doesn't crash. In addition, speaking of sandboxing, Flash is going to be sandboxed in the dev channel version. It's not in the stable one yet, but we can look forward to that in the future. But in addition to all that, Chrome 8 is the first version of Chrome that actually will work with the Chrome store when it is available. Alright, let's wrap things up with some gaming news. A few months back we talked about the MMORPG Rhizome that was being open sourced. Well, not only have they open sourced it, they decided to go ahead and provide a build for Linux users. So if you're interested in playing Rhizome, I will have a link to their wiki in the source code below that you can check out. You can play free for 21 days, and when you're done with that, if you want to sign up, you can. I believe it's $10 or $11 a month US. In addition, this week saw some new items being added to the Ubuntu Software Center, such as the MMORPG Vendetta Online. It's another one of those games that's free to install, free to play for a certain amount of time, and then you have to pay to keep playing. And also, World of Goo was added to the Ubuntu Software Center this week at a price of $20. It's great to see more apps being added to the Software Center for download, for purchase, all of those things. It's one more step toward the Ubuntu Software Center being the App Store alternative for Linux. But that's all we've got to talk about today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, that was This Week in Linux News by Jordan from his website, This Week in Linux News, and his YouTube channel. And, oh, let you guys know, I'm going to have a guest, and this is going to be, let me check the date to make sure I get it correct. It's going to be on the 22nd of December, and this is going to be unique because they're going to be right here in the studio with me, right next to me. And actually, it's going to be my daughter. She's going to be with me for this Christmas season, so she's going to be my co-host. Yay! That's going to be a first right in the studio. So you do not want to miss it. That's going to be the 22nd December around 8 p.m. So you need to be here. Don't want to miss that. And if you want to be cool like me, and you like the show, go ahead and follow me, and or follow my Twitter channel, which is twitter.com/LinuxCoolDude. And I'm going to put you updates for the show, guests, and things like that. And I guess Sergeant said, someone loan me $1 billion. I wish somebody, yeah, right. Then you got to pay it back with interest, probably. So, That'd be $100 billion. Another thing I'm going to go over today, and it's Linux, believe it or not. It seems like I always get, caught on Apple. But I did try the new Mint Linux 10, and a lot of it's actually kind of interesting. Now, I always thought that Mint Linux was based on Ubuntu. I don't think it is, so that was my mistake. It is based on Debian Linux. Okay, I don't know if anybody in the chat room can verify that, but from what I read, it's or from their website anyway. So, okay, there's Sergeant. Let me see. Now, I'm not saying I am switching to Mint Linux. I want to try something different, and recently I did upgrade my my main Linux machine in my bedroom because the hard drive went out, and I put in a used hard drive that only had about I think it was 320 gigabytes on there, and it had a few problems. So I went ahead and threw in the 1 terabyte drive, and I want to try a new Linux distro. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. It's not exactly a review, but there's actually a lot of neat things in there. Well, there's a few negatives in there for me, but you can't be pleased with everything or happy with everything. Like I said, they are going to use a rolling distro eventually, so which means it's not really going to be upgraded every 6 months, major upgrades, but they're going to implement them throughout, constantly updating the software. Supposedly, like, there's stuff like web browsers. It's not really updated until a new release comes out, like every 6 months. But now there's some browsers like Google Chrome, I'm seeing them do it automatically when I install it through their, repositories. It seems to automatically update. In fact, that's how I got the new Google Chrome 8 coming out. It did it automatically for me through the Linux updates. The thing that I kind of was impressed with Mint Linux, because it seems to use a lot of the newer software, not exactly the bleeding edge software, but but it uses the lot newer ones than a lot of the other distributions. And one of the big things that uses is Flash. Like I said, Flash 10.2 is actually in beta right now, and most downloads through Linux systems using the older Flash. Now, I think that comes with some kind of I forgot the exact name. It's like Mint. You go through the repos, it'll say like Mint Flash or something like that, and then which is revision 10.2. Now, this does it system wide, and what I was really surprised about was when you use Google Chrome, but through Linux systems, it's actually Chromium, which is the open source version, but it's pretty much Google Chrome. When you download it, of course, Flash is now integrated inside Google Chrome or Chromium. What I was surprised about it is inside the Flash inside Google Chrome now is using 10.2 as well, which is surprised the heck out of me, really. Another thing I noticed they using is through the Enlightenment Window Manager. On any other distros, it usually uses Enlightenment 16. But this new Mint Linux actually uses E17, which normally to get that, you have to go. There's a few repos through the internet you have to add from a third party, and either that or you can compile it, install it yourself. But pretty much when I pulled up Enlightenment, which I use as a secondary window manager, E17 showed up right away, so you can install it, and there's no hassle. So that's another plus on Mint Linux's side. And it does seem to put on most proprietary codexes and things like that by default. And okay, Flash is one of them. Already talked about that. And it's not just the Flash, but is the 64-bit Flash, not the 32-bit. So if you're on a 64-bit system, it automatically puts in the 64-bit, which was, like I said, another plus, which I believe has recently been released a couple days ago, or how many days ago, but it does put in now. To get all the codexes, I think you do have to install the DVD version. You can get the CD version, and after you upgrade it to, after you install it, it actually gives you the option to install the DVD version, which gives you all the other codexes and Java and things like that. So you'll be able to actually play. I did put in a DVD. It played it right away. So it does have, I believe it's called libdvdcss. That's the proprietary, or the codec you need to run encrypted DVDs. Then the codec is to play MP3s and also Java as well. And I guess RMX77 says, I wish there was a version of Linux that had Gotchi pre-installed or in the repos. There should be actually a couple, quite a few, isn't there? Now, I haven't tried on Mint Linux. For some reason, I'm thinking I've seen it in there, but it's probably me hearing voices or something. But okay. Now, I think you said, Carla Brown, you use that as your main distro, right? Mint Linux, and I'm guessing you got Mint Linux 10 as well. Now, actually, if you're using Mint Linux 10, I think you are using the 10.2 64-bit version of Flash, and I can't remember if you said that you were using it or not. You might want to check that, because if you're using, if you upgraded to it, you might be using it right now. Oh, okay, Mint and Ubuntu. Okay, you just have 10, but not 10.2. Maybe they're going to implement it as a upgrade. But yeah, I checked and it was already in there. So both system-wide and also in Chromium, which is Google Chrome. They also use 10.2 as well. So, but I don't know. Check that out. Go in the repos and check your Flash install and check the version. It might be 10.2. Who knows? Maybe it snuck it past you, didn't even realize, but I don't know. Let me see what else there was on Mint Linux. I think that was about it. Now, I haven't fully tested it. I do kind of miss the Ubuntu a little bit. They have some kind of different start menu. I mean, it might be good for some people. I may end up taking that out. It's kind of cool because you open it up, but the only thing is, it's kind of like how the Vista version, when you do the click on the start bar and this huge box comes up, and it kind of looks like that a little bit. I don't know if they were trying to copy Vista or not. It's kind of a little bit more than what I would need it for. I usually like the simpler menu system, perhaps. But it does have a search function in the when you open up the menu bar, and if you're looking for a specific application or something like, you can type it in there and it will show up. It'll show it right above it if the application is there or not. Okay, Carlo Brown says, I have the Mint Flash plugin on my test laptop. Okay, what version though? You're just talking about 10.2 or the regular one? Hi in there, Chi-Chi, joining us on the today's tech show. And lately we get a lot of Linux news, a lot of Flash, and some things I've been implementing in the studio as well. And actually, I'll probably tell you about another thing I'm wanting to implement for the studio. Not really studio, but really kind of more when I'm outside the studio. But in the house, it's another thing I was going to talk about. Well, that's that's as far the information I have on Mint Linux. I haven't really been using it a whole lot yet, so I'm going to give it more of a chance to use it. Probably what I might do is take out some of the other stuff that I don't like about it and make it look more like Ubuntu, I guess. I have it kind of configured right now the way I have Ubuntu Linux. Now, I've been noticing a lot between the distributions that they kind of look the same. I mean, yeah, the graphic system and some of the features might be different. But to me, I think it's because I normally use the GNOME desktop system. And between the different distributions, that part is really the same. So perhaps that's why I'm seeing, to me, it seems like a lot of the Linux distributions are basically the same. And in some ways, they really are. The only difference between